Well, welcome back to Talking Sport here on IPL Radio. Thanks for listening. It's our first show. We're about halfway through and we're really enjoying it, and I hope you are too when you're listening, whether it's in the car on the way home or you're at home already over in the eastern states and having your dinner. And talking of being over in the eastern states, we've got another guest. We're going to be talking all about cricket now, and there's a lot been happening in cricket, whether it's the Test series in India. The Scorchers had a fantastic result in the BBL, and there was a good result for WA last night, I believe. And I was going to talk now to Ken Preston in Melbourne. G'day, Ken.
G'day, Mitch. How are you, buddy?
Going well. Thanks very much for joining us. You love your cricket, don't you?
Mate, I've been throwing the whites on since I was about 6 or 7 years old. Still haven't scored too many runs, but yeah, mate, love the game.
When did you didn't you go over to England at one stage playing a bit of county cricket? I think we've chatted about over a beer once.
Yeah, a little bit, mate. I was the last time I was in England was 2013. I was lucky enough to be invited to go over with the Bradman Foundation.
Wow.
Who sponsor young blokes playing cricket, and yeah, I'm very fortunate to be part of the foundation. And yeah, mate, that was fantastic. We played a few local sides over there and drank a few hot beers and yeah, showed the Poms how to barbecue. So yeah, no, it was fantastic, mate. Yeah, very enjoyable.
Well, knowing you for quite a few years, if we ever get together or we've chat over the phone, you're always on top of what's happening within the cricket, whether it's the Test series, whether it's the BBL or whether it's the local cricket. You're a WA boy, but you're over east at the moment, so you would have kept a bit of an eye on the Scorchers and also what happened last night. Can you tell us a bit about what you know about the cricket and what's been happening over in India?
Well, mate, the Aussies at the moment 2 for 145. Pretty benign track by the look of it. The one thing we know about India, mate, is not only do they know how to win over in India, but they also know how to draw. And I'd say this track is that they've curated it to go 5 days. It's a pretty benign. Steve Smith, 36 off 117, so he looks like he's setting up camp. No doubt he'll get out the moment I said that. And
give him the curse.
Yeah, that's it. And, well, I wouldn't say I'm a commentator of any great description, mate, but Uzi Khawaja, 63 off, I think it's 170-odd moment. But amazing stat about Usman, averaging nearly 67 since January 2022 in Test matches, and it's just an incredible comeback from a bloke who was in the wilderness for a long time.
He was nearly gone, wasn't he? And then didn't he make a double 100 or something when everyone thought it was his last Test?
Yeah, mate, he was brought into the side with an injury, and Marcus Harris wasn't playing that well, and there was a few other guys that were sort of, camping around the side, and then they had obviously Sandpaper Gate with young Cam Bangers getting embroiled in that.
Yeah, that was
so,
tough.
Yeah, Khawaja came into the side and, mate, he has literally made every post a winner since coming back in. And good luck to him, mate. He seems like he's, I don't know personally, obviously, but mate, he looks like he's in a good spot. He's hitting the ball well and probably... I'll just shout out to one of my mates, probably the quickest hands of any cricketer I've seen since JB Whiteman graced us out on the pitch for the old Wembley District's 10th grade. So,
bit of a shout out there to JB. I know JB, and I know he was going to be tuning in and listening. So, hello, JB, out there in Morley, no doubt.
Got us home to a grand final one year, JB. Probably one of the best run-outs you've ever seen off a boundary. So
he would have told you that 3 or 4 times over barbecues over the years, wouldn't he?
Mate, he's pretty humble about his cricket, old JB.
He
not so much about his footy. The way that he talks about his footy, you would have thought he played 500 games the rest of them. He's pretty humble about his cricket, and doesn't deserve to be either, because he's a very, very handy cricketer in his day.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
and mate, what a fill up for the Australians too tonight. With old Tony Albanese over there for. The preamble to the Test this afternoon, geez, that would have been enthralling for them, just to see Albo over there. They pumped them up,
The joys of being a Prime Minister. You get to go to every sport, every event, and sometimes I think there's probably not much interest in them. They have to fake it a bit, I would have thought.
It's amazing how often politicians seem to get these overseas trips in with major sporting events. You know, we've seen it with Wimbledon, we've seen it with Cricket World Cup, Soccer World Cups. I believe he actually, last week, he hosted the Australian women's side at Kirribilli, the Prime Minister. So,
really?
Right, he's Anthony everywhere at the moment. He's got more hands in the sporting pies than Eddie Collingwood Eddie.
Eddie everywhere, they used to call him, didn't they?
Mate, apparently he was Humphrey B. Bear there for a little while. He was doing so much telly on Channel 9. But, I'm not sure if that's true or not.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about the Test series there. Did you watch the final of the BBL where the Scorchers got up?
I did. I had to watch it on TV. Fortunately, I was over in Perth to watch the semi-final at Optus Stadium against who was it? The boys in pink, the magenta boys from Sydney,
the Sydney
the
Sixers.
Yeah, and
they had a strong team too.
Well, they had Smithy in there, and I must admit, mate, I threw him a cup of.
Enriques is a great player.
Yeah,
but he didn't have a lot of form this season, did he?
No, not a huge fan of Moses, but
Felipe, the opener, he didn't have a great series either.
Turncoat, mate. He's a West Australian boy, Joshy.
Yeah.
But I was lucky enough to see that. And when Smith got out, I threw him a glass of 4 pints IPA ale over the bloke in front of me, and I still owe him the shirt. But no, they played brilliantly well, and then they came up against South Australia in the. Was it South Australia? Was it Brisbane Heat?
Yeah, no, it was South Australia in the Marsh Cup.
South Australia Marsh Cup last night.
A big result for WA.
Oh, mate, considering that after 10 overs they were 1 for 35, they've scored 342 runs in the last 40 overs. That's effectively 9 and a bit and over.
That's going.
Over 40. Mate, that's 20 over cricket. And, the Cam Bancroft batted well. Josh Inglis got his maiden first class one day 100 and batted beautifully. And then, as I say, Bison came in and smashed them everywhere. They were lucky Stoinis didn't get going because they could have made 700 the way they were batting.
Yeah, no, it was huge. South
Australia were average at best in the field. I think they dropped three catches early doors, and Jake Lehman will remember that soda he dropped for a long, long time because that could have changed the game. But look, they had a dip, South Australia. I mean, they were one for 100 and something at one stage after not too many, and then Ash Agar, who, let's face it, he hasn't bowled with any great confidence since the Sydney Test match. He came in and turned the game, mate, and bowling doorknobs too. Like, he wasn't turning them that much, but gee, he was buried his pace backwards and forwards and made some of the South Australian guys look very average indeed.
One question I've got for you is Australia will be playing in an Ashes series next year, is that right?
This year.
Okay, this year, so later on. Now,
yeah, 7th. I think we play the World Cup final against India on the 7th of June, and then about 2 weeks after that, the Ashes start.
Okay, so you'll be getting pretty excited. You love your Ashes series.
Oh, mate, love sitting up late at night with a few frothies. And not just to watch the cricket, as you know.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see Dave Warner. Will he hold his spot as an opener, or do you think maybe a WA boy, Cam Bancroft, might get a spot? He's been getting a lot of runs in the last 12 months.
825 runs, I think, this year in the Sheffield Shield, averaging well in the 50s. 250 odd more than the next bloke behind him. But, mate, Warner's got a long time to recover from his injury, and the Australian selectors love him.
He's been a great player for many years.
Mate, yeah, irrespective of what you think of him as a bloke, and there's a lot of divided opinion on that. He has been a fantastic player. He didn't have a great series last time he was in England. Chris Broad, the moment the ball starts to shape around, Dave seems to struggle with his footwork and things of that nature. But look, I think they'll take him. They might play him in they'll certainly play him in the if he's fit, that's for sure. They'll play him in the World Cup final, just to see how he goes. They'll take him. They'll probably play him at the Oval. But look, Bangers has got to go, and I think Cam Bancroft has to go just through sheer weight of runs.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be poetic justice if he was to take Dave Warner's place.
Bit of sledging from the crowd, do you think? A few signs being thrown up.
Oh, look,
team?
I think he's sponsored by Bunnings now, isn't he? All those guys. But, yeah, look, they'd have to take him. But Smokey, I think that it depends on how Hughes comes up if Hughes is still injured because he's copped a nasty injury. But, mate, here's a Smokey for you. I reckon they'll take Sam White.
Okay.
I don't know why I think that. I just think they've earmarked him for bigger and better things.
Is it right or left-hander, is he?
Yeah, mate. Well, that would be the one thing going in Bancroft's favour if Warner doesn't play. That left-right combination between Bancroft and Khawaja would certainly break up the Poms line and length. And I think Cam would do really well in England because he's a big, tall boy. Got great reach, and I think that's where Warner, if he struggled for any reason, just being a tad shorter, the ball starts to move around. He wants to play from the crease and throw his bat at everything, and they get him nicking off into the slip cordon. But it'd be interesting, mate. I honestly think that Cricket Australia will stick with Warner.
Right.
It'd be interesting to see who they take.
Do you think his heart is in it? Do you think coming towards the end, he hasn't made big scores, out of form? Does that weigh in to somebody considering retiring, or do you think that he'd certainly try to hang in there for one more series?
Well, mate, the last score that he made before he went to India was 200, so I'd hardly say he was out of form.
Yeah.
Look, as I said before with Dave, with Warner, the biggest issue that he has is the moment that the ball, like we talk about flat track bullies, and that's probably a little bit harsh on him, but the moment the ball starts to move around or he has to adjust his footwork backwards and forwards, has been found a little bit wanting, certainly in the latter stages of his career. He's come out in the press before he went to India, and in fact it was around Christmas time, the BBL, that he said he was exhausted. Look, I think, as with anybody, you'd like to finish your career back at home, and I think that the Cricket Australia will give him that opportunity to continue. But yeah, he wouldn't want to make too many low scores early in the England tour because can't see them sticking with him, especially with the Ashes. I mean, it's just too big a trophy for them to muck around with. But you go back to, even if it's not Bancroft or, if Sam White was to come through, Australia is so lucky because at the moment they've got so much depth. I mean, realistically, Head can open the batting. Cameron Green could open the batting.
He's a strong boy, Green, isn't he?
Even Labuschagne, he could open the batting, push down the shove. Mind you, with the shot he played tonight to get out, you wouldn't think so. I mean, we should be 2-1 up in this Test series, Paul.
Yeah.
We played 2 hours of bad cricket in the second Test, which cost us the game, we could be 2-1 up. So we haven't really done a lot wrong, and we've got amazing depth. I mean, even go back to West Australia and have a look at their depth. I mean, look at the guys who didn't play last night. So Australia are very, very fortunate that they've got some great batsmen, not only in the side but in and around, on the outskirts of it as well.
Well, we've covered the men's cricket quite a bit there, and thanks for your insight. You certainly know your stuff, Kenny. Did you notice the extraordinary finish in the women's cricket down in Tasmania a few weeks ago?
You mean the one-day final?
Yeah, where they needed 5 wickets to get up.
Oh.
And
I thought you were going to go to the South African World Cup, which I've got a large group of notes. I did see it. I managed to see it in dispatches on sports replays, and that was amazing.
I've never seen that.
Oh, look, I have, mate.
Get up, win by a run.
I played a lot of 10th grade cricket, so mate, that's pretty much standard for the Wembley District's boys back in
wickets falling like 10 pins, were they?
Mate, you didn't put your cigarette out if you went out to bat because it'd still be turning by the time you got back in. That was 5 days and watch a game of cricket, and no one's actually as short of winning, but it's just such a fantastic thing to watch. If you can actually get your head around it.
Contest and and it's a matter of wheeling them down. You know, you might.
Mind you, I haven't seen a 5-day test match for some time.
Especially in India, they've been lasted 3, haven't they?
I just want a result.
Mate, we played the West Indies and South Africa, mate. They could have got the cheap flights home after Christmas.
Well, look, Kenny, thank you very much for joining us. You certainly know your stuff, and we'd love to keep in touch. And if you'd like to come back and have a chat to us another time here on Talking Sport on IPL Radio, I'm sure SD and I would love to be able to catch up with you again.
Yeah, good on you, Mitch. Great to have a chat with you. Great to see you a couple of weeks ago in Perth, mate. And yeah, Dave, just try and keep him under control with you. I mean, you know what he's like. Yeah. Fazman. Where did that come from?
Look, I've had a couple of nicknames over the years: Faz, Fazza, and Fazman. And the marketing team came up with Fazman, so I can't take the credit. It was the marketing team. As I say, we've got such a big staff list of people here with our massive budget that the marketing department came up with that.
Paul Kelly sends his regards to Faz.
We go way back, me and Paul. Mate, thanks very much for joining us. Everything's been covered there with the cricket. Everyone at home's listening fully understands what the chances are in cricket in this test, and maybe the Ashes coming up that will take a lot of interest, and we might talk to you when the World Cup and also the Ashes are out later in the year.
Sounds good, mate.
All
Fantastic.
Right, cheers.
Take care. See you, buddy.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks, Ken. All right.
Yeah, see you, Steve.
Well, we're here for our first show for Talking Sport.
Yeah, well,
we're doing all right, aren't we?
We're still on air. They haven't pulled the plug out and cut us off. So I think they think the show's going okay.
You know what? Maybe everyone's just gone home.
Maybe.
Or
they're just sick of hearing sport, because we are talking a lot of sport. That's what the show's about.
Well, you know, that's the headline, isn't it?
Yeah.
Talking sport. But we are going to take a little bit of a break and head to a song. But we'll be back for more sport in just a moment.